Hey YouTubers, this is another video for Matt's World. It's my world and you just live in it. Now, I was watching UFC tonight, last night, and turns out that the UFC 175 bout between Wanderlei Silva and Chael Sonnen was it got canceled because Wanderlei refused to take a drug test. And according to the rules, if you refuse to take a drug test, that's an automatic, you automatically failed a drug test. So now it looks like Chael Sonnen will be fighting Vitor Belfort. That bout is scheduled to take place on July 5th, the day after the 4th of July. And of course, on the undercard, well, there's double main events. You know, there's Ronda Rousey's fight with Alexa Davis for the women's bantamweight title, and then there's the middleweight bout between Chris Weidman and Lyoto Machida for the middleweight title. And the winner of Sonnen versus Belfort gets a crack at the middleweight title. Now, here's my opinion on this. First of all, I don't know why Wanderlei did not want to take a drug test. It's unknown why he did not want to take a drug test. Little sketchy, and chances are his license will be revoked, and he could be out of the UFC. I mean, if you have nothing to hide, you should be able to take the drug test. And you know, I'm gonna withhold judgment until I hear more news about it. Wanderlei Silva is actually one of my favorite fighters. He's next to Anderson Silva, one of the greatest fighters ever to come out of Brazil. And so I'm just going to withhold judgment until you know, more facts come out. And as far as the Vitor versus Sonnen fight goes, here's my take on it. This really has to be a must win for Chael Sonnen, because Chael, as we all know, he's had 3 chances to become world champion, and he blew it. The first fight with Anderson Silva, he came close, but then he wound up getting choked out by, you know, the triangle choke. And then second, he lost to Anderson in the rematch. And then after the rematch, you know, he got a shot at John Jones, which really he didn't really deserve. I mean, I understood why they did it, you know, because of the trash talking and because Chael wanted to step up, and you know, after the Dan Henderson injury and what have you. But he really didn't deserve that title shot, and we all know what happened there. And since then, you know, Chael, he you know, his fighting is, I mean, it's gone okay. I mean, he won a bout and then he lost a bout. But this is really a must-win for Chael Sonnen, because, you know, if Chael Sonnen doesn't come through, if he doesn't win this fight, especially against Vitor Belfort, who's been on a huge winning streak, it could be a long time before he ever gets another shot at the belt. And as for Vitor, you know, Vitor needs this. He was the #1 contender to face Weidman, but then he injured his hand. And after he injured his hand, Lyoto stepped into the spot. So, yeah, it looks like Vitor is going to have to fight Chael now. And Now, as far as who will win the match, I honestly believe it's going to be Vitor Belfort who's going to win this fight. Um, Vitor, he's just at a whole new level. I mean, this isn't the same Vitor who came in '96, we beat Tank Abbott and beat a young Vanderlei Silva. This Vitor Belfort, I mean, well, he's always had Muay Thai, but he's always relied more on boxing. And, he was a pretty good boxer, I mean, had he maximized his full potential in boxing, around that time, '96, '97, he could have easily been up there with Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. Because you look at his body and stuff, he would have given them a hard time. I think he would have beaten Tyson. He would have beaten Holyfield. Lennox, he would have hung in there for several rounds, but then I think Vitor would have gotten to him. And for Roy Jones, I think he would have crushed Roy Jones. But that's just my opinion. But Vitor, he's added more Muay Thai. His kicks have gotten better. I mean, he's knocking guys out with head kicks, spinning back kicks, and relying on his jiu-jitsu. I mean, we all know he had jiu-jitsu, but we didn't really get to see much of it because of his boxing. But now he just had more tools. He's striking has really become better, and he's got knockout power in his hands and in his feet. And as far as on the ground, he is good at submissions. I mean, Chael's good at submissions too. He's finally embraced the submissions, because like he was just a wrestler and he would just ground and pound you and stuff. But he has embraced submissions, but Vitor is more experienced at that, so, and he's better experienced at striking as well. So I don't see Chael, trying to slug it out with Vitor, because I mean, Chael knows how to box, but his boxing is more like you setting up for strikes, kind of like Chris Weidman does. But Chris Weidman has better striking, a little better striking, and also has jiu-jitsu. He has better jiu-jitsu than Chael. And Vitor is really, for this fight, he's got to work on his defense. As soon as Chael tries to go in for a shoot, he has to fight to stay on his feet. Throw a knee, and stay off the cage and stuff. Because when Chael gets on top of you, he starts getting going. You're done. Now, for this fight, I do want Vitor to win because I want to see Vitor and possibly Lyoto Machida fight. I mean, nothing against Chris Weidman. I mean, I would like to see Weidman and Vitor as well. But my dream match for that fight is Belfort versus Machida. Two Brazilian guys. Both guys are former world champions. Lyoto's a former light heavyweight champion. Vitor Belfort, former middleweight, light heavyweight, and also no, I don't think he's ever won the middleweight title, but I know he's won the light heavyweight title and the heavyweight title. Yeah, so he's been a heavyweight and light heavyweight champion. But two Brazilians, Lyoto being the present and future, and Vitor being the past. It's a dream matchup. The same thing with when Vitor fought Anderson Silva. It's like you got a legend versus a legend in the making, and it just makes for a better fight. And that's a fight I would really like to see. And like I said before, this is Chael Sonnen's last chance, because I feel like if he blows this number one contenders match, it's going to be a long time before he ever gets a title shot again. Because for a while it seemed like Chael Sonnen was just like talking his way into title fights, and and for a while it kind of messed up the light heavyweight and the light heavyweight division and the middleweight division, because it was like it seems like the UFC was just like handing out title shots like candy, and I understand why they do it, because at the end of the day, the UFC is a business. They have to turn a profit. They have to, make the pay-per-view ratings go up on television. On television, also for the UFC fight nights and whatnot. It's a business. You have to, you have to turn a profit. You have to give fights that people want to see. But also at the same time, you really want to see people who really deserve the title shot, really go for it, And Chael Sonnen a few times did not really deserve the title shots. The rematch with Anderson Silva, I felt, he didn't really deserve that title shot, after being out for about a year. And, the fight with John Jones, I didn't think he earned that title shot either. But for Chael Sonnen, he's a pretty good talker. I mean, even though most of the stuff, he talks half of it is bullshit, but, it's his way to talk his way into a title fight and stuff. And if he messes up this time, he can no longer talk his way into a title fight. He's got to really earn it. It'll be a long time before he ever gets another title shot. And I thought it would be a long time before he ever got a title shot again, after after that loss to John Jones, because he he fought Shogun and also in my hometown of Boston, and he won that fight. He took on Rashad Evans, and Rashad beat him. So Chael Sonnen's career right now, it's sort of in limbo. I mean, if he keeps losing fights, then I think his fighting career is done. He's still gonna have a job at UFC tonight, because he is pretty good behind the desk, But as far as fighting goes, if he keeps going the way he's going, Dana White's gonna be like, look, time to hang it up. So Chael Sonnen has really gotta win this fight. And if I'm Vitor, I would, leg kick Chael, stay off the ground, use your reach, just try to, use your kicks, your punches, your knees and elbows, try to make it a kickboxing match. Don't try to go to the ground with Chael. And as far as the other fights go on that card, I got Ronda Rousey beating Alexis Davis. I don't see anyone beating Ronda anytime soon. And Weidman and Machida, of course. I got Machida winning that fight. Nothing against Chris Weidman. I mean, I'm sure he was. I mean, let's face it. His fight with Anderson Silva, the first fight, it was a little suspect. Because of Anderson was clowning around more than he should have. And then in the second fight, it seemed like we really didn't get a chance to see if Chris Weidman, could really beat Anderson Silva, because of the leg break. And if Weidman ever wants to be respected as a champion, he's got to win in great fashion. He's got to knock him out, submit him. He has to really earn the fans' respect as a champion. He's a good fighter. But as a champion, he still has a long way to go. And this is going to be a real test for him, going up against Lyoto Machida. Personally, I think Machida is going to win, because, Lyoto's a favorite of mine, but we'll just have to see how it goes. We got to see how that fight is going to go. And that's my take on it, and leave comments, and Tell me what you think.